On the 18th of December 1891, the steel hull of the extraordinary bark was launched at the Russell & Co. shipyard in Port Glasgow, Scotland, for the well-known firm of Rickmers, the rice millers and shipowners of Bremerhaven, and was christened Maria Rickmers, the wife of Peter Rickmers, one of the company owners. She was the second five-masted bark in the world. The first was the France, and at that time, the Maria Rickmers was the largest sailing ship of the world. She was rigged with double topgallant sails and single royals on 4 of her masts and skysails on 3, carrying altogether a sail area equal to about 5,300 square meters. At 135 meters long, with a beam of 14.63 meters and a draught of 7.2 meters, she had a tonnage of 3,822 gross register tons and had carrying capacity of about 6,000 tons. She was equipped by Kincaid & Co. of Greenock with a 3-cylinder steam engine of 750 horsepower that was used as an auxiliary drive. This made the five-masted bark an auxiliary sailing ship. When commissioned, she was the largest ship in the Rickmers fleet. The trial trip of the five-masted auxiliary sailing ship Maria Rickmers took place on the Clyde on the 26th of February and was attended with most satisfactory results. This new departure in shipbuilding has attracted great attention in shipping circles. After leaving the James Watt dock, where she fitted out for sea, the Maria Rickmers proceeded under her own steam to Gourock Bay and steamed down the Firth to Skelmorlie, the first run over the measured mile being accomplished at the rate of 8.6 knots per hour. The mean of 2 runs, the last being made against wind and tide, averaged 7.8 knots. The owners expressed themselves as being highly satisfied with her performances. Early March 1892, under command of Captain Johann Generisch, she sailed from Bremerhaven in ballast bound for Barry, South Wales, and set off from there on the 15th of March 1892 via Cardiff to Singapore for orders. She had on board for her maiden voyage 4,465 tons of coal cargo, 646 tons of bunkers, a total of 6,111 tons. This amount of bunkers represented 70 days steaming. She burned 9 tons daily. Her crew was ridiculously small, 39 all told. She was, however, according to the opinion of her officers, exceptionally well rigged for easy working. Her engine room lied right aft. The after mast was being stepped in the middle of her engine room skylight. The funnel, not telescopic, but was going on a binge like the Thames penny boats, lying between the 2 after masts. She had a feathering, 2-bladed screw, driven by a triple expansion engine. The screw and aperture were wholly submerged at her ballast trim, and thus had a good hold of the water. Like most enormous sailing ships, she had a bridge house amidships, out of the top of which grew a giant mushroom, ventilator. This was connected with a steam ventilating engine to her holds. Her figurehead was striking, and evidently the work of an artist. Some supposed it was the counterfeit presentment of her namesake, being very nearly in the condition of Hans Breitmann's celebrated heroine, the Maiden mit Notings-on. After a passage of 80 days round Cape of Good Hope, she arrived at Singapore on June 2, 1892. Her best daily distance was 303 miles during that voyage. Captain Generisch was rather unwell on arrival, and on Saturday evening he had an apoplectic stroke, which ended fatally the next morning. Deceased was the Commodore of the Rickmers fleet, and it was at the special request of the owners that he took the first command of the Maria Rickmers for this voyage only. A short time ago, he celebrated his jubilee as master in the Rickmers service. Shortly before he fell ill, he had received a telegram from the shipping company, where they reprimanded him over his slow passage. Despite the loss of their captain, the Maria Rickmers continued her voyage. The first mate, Adolf Weithoff, took over command, and after discharging, he sailed her in ballast to Saigon, where she took a cargo of 56,727 bags of rice for Bremerhaven. The local newspapers said that letters from the producing districts announced a rise in the price of rice, and that the large shipment of 6,000 tons by the Maria Rickmers to Europe was the cause of it. On the 14th of July, 1892, she sailed from Saigon, and passing the Sunda Strait, gave her last signal to Anjer Point, Indonesia, on the 24th of July, 1892, and that was the last time anything has been seen or heard of the Maria Rickmers. Whether the death of Captain Generich and the subsequent resume of command by the first mate Weethoff has something to do with the tragedy is unknown. It is generally reported that nothing was ever heard of the Maria Rickmers again, and no wreckage was found. This led to a number of theories about the disappearance of the five-master: a typhoon, a white squall, pirates, capsizing due to shifted or improperly stowed cargo, the crew being overwhelmed, etc. In contrast, James Thomas Aikman's diary reports that the Maria Rickmers sank in the Sunda Strait during a typhoon, and that corresponding wreckage was subsequently found there. At a German society related to shipping interests, a paper was read in which the author argued that the crew carried by that vessel was far too small to deal promptly with the enormous spread of sail. The vessel of the description of the Maria Rickmers was sighted near the Azores on the 11th November 1892 by the captain of the sailing ship Antioco Ame. In January 1894, there was picked up floating in the sea near to the Toward lightship on the Clyde a tin box containing this message written in German: Maria Rickmers sinking, 12/12/92. And that message from the dead was the last ever known of the ill-fated ship or her crew. It is generally surmised that she was caught in a storm in the Bay of Biscay, her cargo listed over and down she went, with never a soul left to tell the tale. The ship was the largest sailing ship of her time, but she only existed for 7 months, the shortest lifespan of all 9 five-masted ships.